All right, so our today's topic is to know thyself. Know thyself. It is said that on the very door of the Oracle of Delphi, it is written that know thyself. That our prime job, our fundamental job is to know who we are. This is very interesting situation with human beings, that human beings start in the middle. It means that they don't know from where they have come and they don't know where they are going. If you look at knowledge about human beings, you you can see hardcore sciences and especially social sciences. The common denominator when it comes to the nature of human being. So our modern knowledge informs us that we human beings are, in a sense, byproduct. That we human beings are not individuals, that we human beings are not independent, and we human beings don't have control on ourselves. So overall, like I said, it tells you that you even don't exist. Like there are economic forces, or psychological forces, or social forces which make you. So you are not the way you think you are. I think they are, in a sense, they are right. That when we look at human beings, when we look at ourselves, we find that we have different ethnicities, we have different languages, we have different religions, we have different backgrounds. And all those different things make us different. So Indian is different from Pakistani, and Pakistan is different from India. A Jew is different from Muslim, and a Muslim is different from a Jew. Why? Because of the background. So the question is, am I my background? Right? The question is then, who who am I? Who am I? So this is a question. If I'm born in a Muslim family, I become Muslim. If I'm born in a Jew family, I become Jew. So who the hell am I? What is my original face? So this is the question. Original face, if there is any. And like I said, that social sciences, I mean, knowledge generally about human beings is telling us that we human beings are the byproduct of different forces. Like I said, there are economic forces, there are social forces, there are psychological forces, So somehow we are the byproduct of these forces. Means that we don't have our own unique consciousness. Consciousness. We don't have that thing. My consciousness is what is my background, right? My education, my social background, my psychological instincts, my economic situation. So all these things, they make my consciousness. So my consciousness is not something which is unique, which is independent, which is there without without any background. So I'm saying in a one sense there it's true. There's no doubt about it. But the question is how far this idea or this picture is true. I mean, it's absolutely true or to some extent. So the answer is that it's not absolute. Means that this picture is not absolute. Something is missing in this picture. And what is missing in this picture, that's what we are going to discuss today in this video, in this lecture. So I don't want to put you into any confusion uh, because when we say or when we talk about anything, so we cannot say a talk without any context, right? Without any milieu. Means that every talk, every statement does have a certain background, does have a certain milieu. Means that you cannot talk, you cannot say anything uh, without the context. So I would like to say that my today's lecture falls under what we usually label as enlightenment, the discourse of enlightenment, discourse of enlightenment, enlightenment. It means that what I'm going to say is not something new, is not something which has not been spoken about before. It's very much there. The whole discourse is there. And usually it is labeled as enlightenment, or we can say self uh, realization. You know, when you uh, when you know who you are, and that knowing is, I mean, the discourse on that knowing is different from the established knowledge, academic knowledge about human beings. Like I said, if you go to uh, contemporary knowledge on human beings, like I said, it says that it establishes that we human beings are the byproduct. We are not free, individual, unique human beings. No, we are byproduct. We don't exist in an independent, in a free, in in an individualistic way. There is no such thing. The whole field of philosophy, sorry, psychology is saying this. You go to economics, you will find that. You go to sociology, you will find that individual is the byproduct of society. So there are social forces. and then there are economic forces, and then there are psychological forces. So those forces are there. And again, linguistic force is also there. I mean, language, what we are, we, it's said that it's not we who speak, rather, it is a language which is spoken through us. So language exists before us, and because language exists before us, so we don't have new words, right? We don't have new thoughts even. What we have just words. Words we have borrowed, and uh, we become a kind of medium through which those words are spoken out. So there are so many, like I said, forces. And this discourse of enlightenment goes against this kind of understanding, right? Uh, if you go into academia, you will find that no, a majority of them, they don't uh, they don't believe in this discourse. And there is a reason. There is a reason because a reason is that the discourse of enlightenment uh, does not adopt the ways, the methods uh, which are used in established academia, right? Uh, which are used uh, in academia and through which knowledge is created, are insights about human beings, they are they are gathered. So my today's lecture, like I said, it does fall this under this discourse of enlightenment. Discourse of enlightenment says that we human beings in our day-to-day life, we don't know who we are, right? We don't know what our thoughts are. We don't know what our emotions are. We don't know what even our body is. We just live in a in a cave. It's like Plato's allegory of cave, in which we human beings are living, right? We are looking against the wall, and there are shadows on that wall, but we don't know that they are the shadows. We have never looked back outside of the cave, and reality is outside of the cave. Shadows, they are coming from the outside, but because we have been born in that cave, we have been grown up in that cave, and our necks, they are chained. We can't move back, we can't turn around, and we can't see the reality, right? We always look at the wall and take shadows as real. So I said, like in contemporary knowledge, they say that we human beings, like we are not the way usually it is thought about, that we are, that I am me, I am myself, I have a choice, I can choose between right and wrong, and I have control on myself, right? Like usual, the way usually we perceive about ourselves. So this is not true. And self-realization, the discourse on enlightenment, it also believes that we uh, we are, in a sense, we are the byproduct. Our consciousness is the byproduct of all these different forces. But it adds also something new. And that something new is that there is your original face, there is your original consciousness, there is something within us or in our reach which goes beyond all these influences. And discourse of enlightenment, it believes that it says that that is the true task to do for human beings. Means that unless one knows oneself or unless one knows who one is not going to live a happy, free, and wise life. I mean, if you are living in ignorance, if you are living your life in darkness, so obviously you are going to commit many mistakes, right? You are going to tumble around. You are going to face many difficulties, right? It's going to be a disaster for you. Means that because you don't know yourself, right? So you are living in ignorance. You are living in the cave, right? Thinking that shadows are real, which is not true. You haven't seen the true light, but there is a possibility. There's a possibility that you can see the light, which we don't find in contemporary knowledge, right? Academia, we don't find that. This is a very interesting point. They don't say that this is possible. No, it's not possible. There is no such thing. Even they go against this discourse. Mean that they say it's again, if somebody says, this self-realization is possible, this enlightenment is possible, it means that, this is another kind of religion. Or it has come from maybe from Buddha, or maybe from yoga, or maybe some Hindu kind of uh, Vedantic philosophy or whatever, right? So if you believe that there is such possibility that you are capable of knowing who you are, so then it means, according to them, when you are falling into another trap, right? I mean, there is another kind of force which is coming from your background, and it is putting you into illusion of enlightenment, of nirvana, of self-realization. But like I said, uh, that I want to make the context of my discussion. I don't want to put you into some kind of curiosity or uh, some kind of delaying situation tactics. I want to inform you from the uh, first step that my discourse is not something new. The talk is not something new or unique or something which has not been talked about. So it is very much there. Just the point is that you can say I am one more uh, number. Another person is there who says that uh, enlightenment is real, contemporary knowledge, which believes that human beings are the byproduct of different forces, economic, social, political, psychological, linguistic. They are true in a sense, but they are not absolutely true. So this is the point. Now, The question is, the question is how to know oneself. This is a question. If you say, okay, I go along with you, I listen to you, I pay attention to you, so you please tell me that what kind of strategy or what kind of tools or methods do I propose? Or what do you say about this? How to know oneself? I want to know myself. I agree with you. Okay. And I say, okay, let's move on. Let's go forward. Let's accept that I don't know myself. So you please tell me, what should I do? So, in that regard, I would say that I can give you I can give you certain suggestions. I can give you uh, certain hints, certain clues, and you can experiment with them. You can uh, you can test them. You can see whether they make sense or not. So the first thing about enlightenment is that enlightenment is our nature. Enlightenment is our nature. Means that it is not something which we invent, right? We do not we do not invent it. We do not make it. We do not create it. And it is not something which we achieve. I mean, there is something lying out there, and I struggle or I use some method or I use some technique and approach it and secure it or achieve it. So it's not something which we achieve, right? No achievement. Reason because enlightenment is our nature. That's what we are. We are not different from it. So when you are not different from it, it means then that you are not going to achieve it. You are that. So this is the first point we can say, that enlightenment is not something which one achieves. It's not something which one invents. It is not something which one creates. It is our very nature. But the problem is that we have, you can say, due to different reasons, we have forgotten it. We have forgotten who we are. So this is the problem. Like you have money in your pocket, or you have put a certain amount of money somewhere, and now you have forgotten about it, right? And you think that you don't have money, but you have, and you have forgotten it. The moment you remember it, so you have the money, right? So it's a certain kind of remembrance. you can say. It's a remembrance. Remembrance that who you are. It's not something which you, like I said, which you go and which you mm, achieve. So this is the first point about about enlightenment. Now, the point to know is that due to different, like I said, forces, different reasons, we have forgotten about it, right? And for example, you are born, you are born into a certain religion, right? You're born into a Hindu family or Jewish family or atheist family, right? So the family tells you that you are that person. You are a Jew or you are a Muslim or you are a Hindu. So you start to believe in that, right? And you start to arrange, organize, and maintain your life according to that, according to the dictates of that particular religion. So now you have forgotten who you are, right? So, or you go to, you get education and you start to study a certain writer. For example, you go into psychology and you study psychoanalysis, right? Psychoanalysis, psychoanalysis. So you start to believe what psychoanalysis says, what Sigmund Freud says, or Carl Jung says, or there are so many. Or you study sociology, or Karl Marx, or Marxism, right? So you start to believe what Marx says, what Marxism says, right? So these are different forces which puts you on a certain track, which is not which takes you away from your true nature, right? And of course, we start to believe on that. We start to take uh, that wrong track as right track. So, we forget then who we are. So these are the things. Now, the point is that instead of going into uh, you know all these different nuances and particularities and uh, specifications, we can very clearly see that if we look at human beings, if we look at ourselves, we can easily see that, we are, you know, we are, abstract terms, abstract level. If you go at abstract level, so we can say uh, we have bodies, right? We have thoughts, we have emotions, right? These are main components we can see that we as individual have body, we see we have thoughts, and we see we have emotions. Now, in order to remember who we are, in order to know who we are, we need to pay attention to these things. We need to pay attention to our bodies and thoughts and emotions, right? So let's start with we'll come to bodies later, but let's start first thoughts. What are thoughts? What are thoughts? What are thoughts? Have you ever considered? Have you ever uh, thought about thoughts? What are thoughts? Thoughts are very interesting phenomena within us because it is through thoughts, with the help of thoughts, that we create our world around us, right? So thoughts create religion, thoughts create philosophy, thoughts create identities, thoughts create theories, right? Science. So all, if you see, all they are created by thoughts or through thoughts. So thoughts are not simple things, right? They are the building blocks. It is said that thoughts uh, can start a war. You know, there is a war between Muslims and Jews. So Muslim is a thought, likewise Jew is a thought. So two thoughts, they are fighting with each other. No, one thought is saying, you know, what I believe is true, and what you believe is not true. You are false, right? But the other thought is saying, you are false, I am true, right? So truth is something which should be appreciated, and false is something which should not be appreciated, right? So, thoughts. So, on the way of enlightenment, we need to pay attention to our thoughts because, like I said, it is out of thoughts that we are misled. We are born into a certain family, into a certain tradition, into a certain milieu context, and we get certain thoughts, right? And those thoughts, then we adopt them, we put them against our heart, we cherish them, we take them as true or false, and we make our identities out of those thoughts. So we need to pay attention to what thoughts are. One thing you can see if you observe within yourself. So you will see that there is an and there is an observed. Observer and the observed. What it means? It means that you will put yourself, if I say, okay, try to see your thoughts, right? See what's going on within you. See What kind of thoughts are there in your mind or in your system? Usually in the brain region, we feel that thoughts are there, yes, or usually they are there. Thoughts are usually happen in the brain, you know, and we call it mind, you know, brain, brain, and then mind. So brain is a physical organ, is a physical space, and we find that our thoughts they occur there, they happen there. Thoughts come, we observe, thoughts come and they go. So one thought comes, then other thought comes, then next, and in this way, the process keeps on going. Like I said, you will see that if you do this observation, you find that we always think ourselves as an observer. Like I said, if we observe our thoughts, so what we will do? We'll start to observe and taking this idea with us that, we are observers. Like there is observer and which is observing these thoughts, which is looking at these thoughts, right? But what if I tell you that this is not so? This is not true. There is no observer in the sense you are or we are establishing or we are thinking. What if I tell you that by not, out of not our knowing, out of our ignorance, right, we create this observer. There is no observer as such. What is there? If we pay attention minutely, we'll find that there is only one thought, then another thought, and then another thought. And one thought is thinking that it is observing the other thought. This is very subtle. This is very subtle. Mean one thought is observing that there is another thought. So, for example, say, oh, yes, yes, there is a thought. So, that basically is not the observer. That basically is the thought. There is another thought. So, the situation becomes very interesting. If you pay attention, if enough attention is paid to this process of thoughts, this thing gets established that there are only thoughts, that there are only thoughts. They come and they go. Now, what happens is that we we have constructed a certain kind of identity around those thoughts. Like I said, my name is this. I belong to there, that place. I'm educated. I am not educated. I am wealthy or I'm not wealthy. I'm Christian or Muslim or whatever. So all these are thoughts, right? And my day-to-day experiences and their memories, right? They are all thoughts. And I have put them together into a mm, certain kind of position, and I label them as myself, like my identity. Like I say, this is me. And out of these thoughts, out of the bundle of these thoughts, I have, like I said, I've created my identity. So who am I? I am the bundle of all these thoughts, which, like I said, contemporary knowledge on human beings say that you are not like pure consciousness, you are not like individual, rather you are the byproduct of different forces, which I said that they are true. In the contemporary knowledge, the insight given by the contemporary knowledge about human beings is very much true. In a certain sense, I'm saying, not absolute sense. So now the point is that we don't know even our thoughts. We don't know what thoughts are. Like I said, we have selected certain thoughts and claimed that, you know, this is me, you know, this is me. I mean, all those thoughts together, they are saying, this is me, this is the name. Now, all other thoughts, they are, they relate to these, bundle of thoughts, which I say my identity, this is me, my identity. And I live my life without knowing that I am a certain bundle of a certain thoughts. There is no existential value in my identity. Existential means that there is no substantial being there. There's nothing there, just except thoughts. That's why we human beings, we don't feel safe or we don't feel belonged or we don't feel connected, you know, around us. Why? Because we have created our identities out of certain thoughts, and those thoughts, they are not connected with other thoughts in a in an existential way. For example, if I am a Hindu, Hindu thought, right? So all those thoughts which are uh, related to Hindu, this Hindu identity, they will be, uh, you can say my companion thoughts, for example, Hindu. So if other person is Hindu, so then we can relate. I mean, that one thought, Hindu thought, can relate with the other Hindu thought. But what if there is a Muslim thought? If there is a person who is Muslim, so of course then Hindu will not be able to relate with the Muslim. So there is a Muslim thought and there is a Hindu thought, and there is a fight, there is a rift between these two, right? So Hindu has an enemy in the form of a Muslim, right? So when there is an enemy, so then how you are going to be relaxed or how you are going to be not worried? So the point is, the point is that enlightenment says that, I mean, in a one way, right? You have to you have to come to terms with your thoughts. I mean, you have to know your thoughts. Your thoughts, a kind of hurdles on the way towards enlightenment. They are there. They will tell you you are this, you are that. They will not allow you to realize your true self. They will not allow you to look at your original face, right? So what you can do, you can you can figure figure them out. You can catch them. Mean that you can look at your thoughts. This is very interesting. The point is that in our ignorant way of life, we remain unable to look at thoughts. Really. We think that we see thoughts, but like I said, we don't. We do not see thoughts. What happens is just this that one thought looks at an other thought, right? There is nothing like we remain unable to figure out, to figure out, to figure out that uh, you can say capacity or faculty, right? Through which, through which we can look at, look at our thoughts. This is a problem, right? So this is a problem. The moment I look at my thoughts, I come to know their reality. That my God, they are just thoughts. They are no more than thoughts, right? I can catch them. It means I have caught them. I've already out of their clutches. I'm already out of their trap because I have looked at them. But that looking usually in our day-to-day life, it doesn't occur. It doesn't happen. So this is the problem that we are being led by our thoughts, that we don't have pure consciousness, that all those forces of thoughts, they they put us in a blind situation. So hence, in enlightenment sphere, uh, this question, this phenomena of meditation is very much there. Meditation, meditation. That's why in today's world, meditation has become so important. So not important, so famous. It's a now it has become a kind of fashion. Okay, you do meditation. How much time do you do meditation? How advanced you are in your meditation, right? Are you professional, like advanced meditation meditator or just a low level meditator? No, all these things are there. So it has become quite a phenomena in today's world. Basically, meditation comes out of this understanding that we human beings, we our in our day-to-day life, we remain unable to see, to look at, to realize the nature of thoughts. So meditation is in that sense is not a technique, I would say. It's not a technique. Like I give you a technique and you by adopting that technique, you you know, when you utilize that technique, you will get something, some kind of like enlightenment. You will achieve some enlightenment. And like I said, that enlightenment is not achievement. Enlightenment is not something which you can make a goal. No, it's not. Enlightenment is our very nature. The point is that we have forgotten. And there are certain impediments, there are certain uh, hurdles, which are there, and we have to understand them, right? And the moment we understand them, we uh, we then know who we are, right? We we come back to our true nature. So this is the point. Now, in this regard, the question is very important and very interesting and subtle question is that you say that we live in illusion. Our day-to-day life is not the life of enlightenment. It is a life of illusion. It is a life of darkness. It is a life of ignorance. Means that we don't know our original face. The faces we have got, they are borrowed. They are inherited. They are constructed, right? They are borrowed, inherited, they are constructed. Means that they are not original faces. We have never seen our original face. So this is a problem. And now you come and you tell me that I have lived my life in illusion. I don't know who the hell I am. And I can realize myself. What are you talking about? Who is going to realize whom? Illusion, how an illusion is going to realize something which is not illusion. I mean, how the darkness is going to face light. So this is a question. This is a very subtle question, I'm saying. So the answer is that, like, like I said, that enlightenment is our nature. Light, clarity, wisdom, joy, freedom. It's our nature. I mean, in order to be happy, in order to be joyful, you need not to do anything. This is by default. This is this is who we are, right? And we have to, and it is there. The point is that it's not that it is not there. It is there. It's just forgotten. Like I said, it's just forgotten. So we have to remember it. This is the point. Remembrance. Like I said earlier, remembrance. I mean, we have we need not to invent something. We need not to make up something. We have to remember. So you come back to this thought game, right? Let's say you come to thoughts. Now, like we said earlier, that there are thoughts, there are thoughts. So one thought, then another, then another, then another. So thoughts, they come and they go away. So this is the point. Now, the real thing is to understand that there is always a gap. There is always a gap between one thought and the other. There's a gap. Relax and pay attention to this point, please. That thoughts, they are not like one reel without any gap. Even if we look at the very formation of sentence structure, you can see here, there is always a gap. So we will always see there's a space between one word and another word. There is a space. Basically, this space, it reflects the space, or this composition reflects the composition in our thought process. So same thing happens there. I mean, there's always a gap between one word and another, and so is the case with thoughts. There's always a gap between one thought and another. In our day-to-day life, we don't pay attention to these gaps. Yes, we don't pay attention to these gaps. Gap is there, right? So the first thing to note is that there is a gap between one, one and the other. There is a gap. Now, what is that gap? This is a question. What is a gap? We never paid attention to this point or to this thing. That gap, if I say to you that that gap is basically is not small gap. That gap is you can say this sheet of paper, right? This sheet of paper, like this sheet of paper. And this sheet of paper is a blank. Like I said, you look at this sheet of paper, it's a blank, right? It's a blank, blank, right? It's a blank. So there is nothing, it's empty. Now I write something on it, right? So this becomes writing. But this writing is possible due to this blank sheet. So my point is that the gap between words basically is the gap is not just small gap. It's like a sheet, blank sheet. It's a it's a gap, it's a space, it's a vast space. And in that vast space, in that blank, you can say, for the saying sake, because this is the point where words become not helpful to describe, because this is the thing which we cannot say through words. No, this is the point which we can realize through our own experience, through our own perception, right? So you have to see that. That's why it's not something which we invent. It is not something which we make up, right? It is there. That's why it's called discovery. Discovery. Enlightenment is a discovery. We discover ourselves. I mean, it is there, and we come upon it. We discover it. So the thing is that, like I said, ignorance cannot find the light, right? Cannot find. Darkness cannot find the light. Foolishness cannot find the wisdom, right? So what we can do? We have to go to the wisdom. We have to go to the light. If we want to bring light within us, we have to go to the light, right? We cannot take help from the darkness. Darkness is not going to help us, you know, uh, come out of darkness. What will help us is the light. Foolishness is not going to help us come out of our foolishness. So we need to go to the wisdom. So wisdom will destroy the foolishness. Light will destroy the darkness, right? Or in other sense, we can say that the absence of light is darkness, or the absence of wisdom is the foolishness. The moment wisdom is there, foolishness is gone. The moment light is there, darkness is gone. So the light is there, the wisdom is there, but it is there in a latent form. It's not obvious. It's not in our day-to-day perception. It's not in our day-to-day reality, but it is there. And like I said, how we can figure out, how we can discover it, you pay attention, not you pay attention. There is a gap because you are a thought, you are a certain identity, right? So you pay attention to that gap and you will see that the more you pay attention to your gap, that gap, I mean, the more here, this dual way of language, is not going to help us out. So I can give you a certain kind of clue, a certain kind of indication, right? So you have to figure out, you have to play, you have to do experiment with yourself. Because if you see language, if we see language, language is a dual. Language always starts from binary, like there must be two, right? You and I, right? Subject and object. There must be some two to function to so that language can function. So language must have two. Without two, language cannot function. This is the nature of language. But we are talking about uh, that discovery, right? Where there is no twos, where there is no you and you will discover. No, you are a thought, right? Now, thought is thought has gaps, right? Thoughts have gaps. And for saying sake, I'm saying, the more attention is paid to the gaps, you know, the problem is that we are identified with our thoughts. So we don't pay attention to the gap, right? I am my thought in one sense. So that thought does not pay attention to to the gap. It cannot pay attention to. It's a thought. But attention is there. That gap is there. And that gap is not like thought, is not like something empty space. No, that gap is you can say a uh, certain kind of uh, you can say it's observation. It has this capacity to observe. It can observe. It can see without any thought. It doesn't say, oh, I observe. No, there's a pure observation, you can say, pure observation, without any thought. There's a pure observation. It just observes. Mean there's a thought, it observes it. There's a good thought, it observes it. There's a bad thought, it observes it. It is observation, you can say. So the more observation is established, you will find that thoughts, the process of thoughts, it becomes slow, right? So you can say a new kind of entity, a new kind of space has figured out within your system, which you have never ever uh, looked upon. I'm saying you. This is a problem of language. Like I say, I'm saying you, who you are, right? So you have to, I am in at this moment, I am talking, you can say, with that observation. You know, if you listen to my words, my thoughts, my speech out of or through that observation, so that observation will very easily understand what I'm talking about without any words, without any thoughts, right? So the more that observation, I mean, that observation is there already, but problem is that the whole process of, the speedy process of thoughts uh, has, you can say, has an, it doesn't have that capacity of engulfing, but it seems, it looks as if, it has hidden that space. But it is not, it cannot hide that space. It is there. That's why the gaps are there. Gaps, you know, the gaps are there because of that space, that observation. So the point is that the more you pay attention to those gaps, you know, I'm saying you in order to make the conversation feasible, right? I do not mean you here as a thought, please. If you take me, you as a thought, then you are not going to pick up this knack of meditation. So meditation is not a technique. You can say meditation is a certain kind of knack. Either you get it or you don't get it. This is the point. Meditation is a knack. Meditation is a knack. Either you get it, either you get it or you do not. This is the point. So the first point is that you you need to pay attention to those thoughts, and the more that observation, that attention grows, the more the space is there. And one day it comes that thoughts, they are the whole thoughts, they are they get dissolved into that space, in front of that space. Mean that we have created a certain kind of identity out of our thoughts, and then this new observation emerges, and day by day we start to see that that thing is there, that thing is very much there, right? We forget it. We, in our day-to-day life, we again and again come back to our thoughts, because that's the way we have lived our life. So we again go back to our thoughts, but then there is a realization of this, that there are gaps. So again, attention goes back to those gaps, and that those gaps, they grow, right? They, I'm saying it for saying sake, it is already there, right? So day by day, when more and more attention is there, when more and more you don't identify yourself with your thoughts, when you don't identify yourself with yourself, rather you start to identify yourself with that, right? You are that. So then you come to know that one day the thoughts, they they dissolve in front of you, in front of that observation, and that is your, in a say, your enlightenment. That is your, uh, the day you realize, who your true self is. Thank you.